Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I want to start off by saying that any and all thoughts and opinions are just that, thoughts and opinions. In no way am I sharing professional advice when it comes to physical and mental health. These videos are simply for fun and to provide my thoughts on the topic. Do not send any hate to anyone I talk about, and please be kind in the comments. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. We're going to be doing some more Amberlynn Reid content. This is actually the part 2 of the Alexis drama and her spilling the tea on Amber. So let's get into it, shall we?
Did you notice ALR adopting your personality and mannerisms when you became friends? Yes. Half of her isms right now are literally mine. Except I don't know where she got this like hectic word from, so don't come for me for that. Cause I didn't do that. But like the randomly busting out in a country accent thing that she's been doing, that is me.
Oh, like, so I can definitely pour my anger at you. I genuinely cannot stand that. Every time Amber does that, it makes me God, it makes me want to throw my computer. On top of that, I genuinely cannot stand the hectic, and I know it's weird because I myself do that. And now that she has actually said hectic so many times, I've gotten to the point where now where I say it, I literally get angry at myself because of it, because it is just so goddamn annoying. So now I have to get rid of one of my own mannerisms because of Amber.
I personally don't believe that Emily is responsible for the hectic situation type deal because Emily's personality is comparable to a loaf of white bread.
First of all, do not be insulting white bread like that. Secondly, I would rather white bread Emily over someone like yourself who breaks out in a country accent when we're trying to have a serious conversation. Like, I would get absolutely goddamn pissed, especially with that entitled attitude you have.
Is Amber a to her girlfriends? I've said this before and I'll say this again, but it takes two to tango. But I know if I ever dated Amberlynn, I think I definitely would be taking a really long grippy sock vacation afterwards.
Again, this is very much a very sensitive topic, and I personally believe when it comes to the situations like this, it's very 50-50. It's never going to be really be one side or the other. And a lot of relationships like this, not just same-sex relationships for women, but heterosexual relationships too. A lot of them are very much 50-50, and there have been a lot of studies done to say that even though men take up more physical aspect of abuse, but women take up more of the mental and emotional aspect. And I'm not going to say one side is more better or worse because all three have their own. They're all linked in one way or another. In a sense, they have their own. Like, it's like sort of like as some sort of dot to dot type thing, because one aspect can lead to another. And I don't necessarily agree in the sense that she would be a victim in the situation. I feel like Alexis would be the type of person to, give as good as she gets. And she's the type of person to very much play the victim as well as also, throw shade. Very much like Amberlynn. I think the two of them are very much similar in the situation. And I'm not going to say it's because of their BPD. I think it's more of their personality traits where they will try to place themselves in the role of the victim after they themselves had taken part in, the abuse itself. And that's just speculation on my part. I could be completely wrong, but by the looks of the conversation that she had with Amber on the phone, I don't know. I feel like she could definitely hold her own.
Her looks are absolutely not the reason that I wouldn't date her. It's everything else. Has she ever told you why she lies on YouTube all the time? Probably because, liars lie.
I actually have 2 points for this. First and foremost, yes, she is a compulsive liar. She does it in order to place herself in the role of the victim, or to make herself seem more morally just, or the victim in the situation. That's all it really is at the end of the day. Secondly, the reason why I don't necessarily want to agree with everything Alexis says, and I want to take it more with speculation and a grain of salt, is because you can't trust a compulsive liar. And a lot of people will do this. And when a situation happens and they know someone is a compulsive liar, they will try to somewhat be empathetic to a person because at some point we naturally are. But at the same time, you can't really take everything they say with, as complete truth. You have to take it with a grain of salt because there has to be speculation, especially when someone is a known liar. You can't automatically go, oh my god, you poor thing, because how do you know they're telling the truth? Like, you unfortunately can't. And that's part of the reason why, these types of situations are touchy subjects, because you don't want to call someone a liar, but then you don't want to automatically agree and go, oh my god, you're a victim, because you just don't know without evidence. An allegation is just a story without evidence, and you need to have that evidence in order to actually have a a full understanding of the picture and go, okay, this is what happened. Because a lot of the times that's not his truth or her truth or her truth or his truth. It's very much in the middle. It's a lot of the times it's less of their truth and more of their perspective of the truth. And a lot of people will view it because they are of their own feelings. So you kind of need to have a very logical standpoint and not try to act on emotions. You need to understand the context, see the evidence, and make a based judgment on the both of those things. You can't really just go, okay, well, I'm gonna listen to a compulsive liar, and I'm not going to listen to the compulsive liar, because you can't really say for sure whether or not they're lying in the situation. So it's a very, the boy who cried wolf, because, if someone doesn't believe you, it's your own fault for lying in the first place.
Amber said Tomby. What the hell? I'm actually going to leave that in there because I laughed. Amber said Tommy has a great job. If that's true, why did she and her ex have to do blank blank for money? Did Tommy and her ex ever live together? I'm really not a super huge fan of discussing the deceased, but I literally don't know.
Agreed. I don't like really talking about that situation either, because, ultimately she's not here to defend herself. But at the same time, I don't think it's really a reason or an excuse. Like I said before, if you did it for money, that to me is way worse than doing it for the act itself and the pleasure itself. Like, you could have done multiple other avenues in the first place in order to actually get the money, but you chose an easy way out that had such negative consequences that someone is no longer alive. It really speaks volumes to your character, because why would you engage with someone who is the love of your life in a behavior that took their life away for monetary gain? It is a very sad thing, and I don't really see that as an excuse or ever being an excuse, because at the end of the day, they're no longer here. And what did that money get you? A little bit of time. Okay, could have had far more time if you actually worked with each other and lost weight, but now you don't have any more time with her and she's gone. And how do you say that you love them again? Like, you're in someone else's DMs essentially, before she even really goes into the ground. And like, that is truly a disturbing thing. The love of your life is still, above ground, and you're essentially hitting on other people before they go in the ground. And it's like, how the hell are you even able to do that and even say that with a straight face?
Also, Tommy's job is like not this big spectacular ordeal, but I'm not going to speak on it because Tommy is a mother and I don't want her to lose her job because I care about the well-being of her child.
I do respect people for not talking about her occupation for two reasons. First and foremost, again, the child, yes, that is definitely respect. The child needs, access to certain things, and, putting the mother's occupation in jeopardy like that is a very concerning thing, and you shouldn't do that. Secondly, her occupation doesn't really add anything to the context, because I've already said, like I said before, monetary gain for something negative doesn't make it good. It's not an excuse. Like, you did something for monetary gain that ended with someone passing away. Like, there's no excuse for that, regardless of what the intent was in the first place.
And I would never go out of my way to put a child's well-being in jeopardy. Otherwise, I would probably tell you guys whatever. What was the absolutely vile thing that Emily said to Amber? Do you think she encouraged her late partner's when she told Amberlynn that she would rather not be on this earth anymore, so that she could be with her late fiance?
I can definitely understand why Alexis and Amber would feel that way. That is something that is um, definitely emotionally stunting. Like, it can definitely hurt a relationship. Like, if someone would prefer to be with their late partner than you, that is soul crushing. I think that's more so on the fact that Emily should really be more so healing from her situation, like, instead of hitting up other people. And that's why I sort of kind of take it in the sense that you're more so in the relationship for the sake of pleasure than actually in the relationship because you want to be in the relationship. It feels almost like a rebound, and it's like, you should be healing. You should not be engaging in a certain attraction. Like, work on yourself and work on your mental health before you get into another relationship. Also, I kind of press X to doubt. I think it's more so like a manipulation tactic because, as far as I'm concerned, if you truly want to be with your partner or whatever, you would be taking the time to heal and definitely not doing anything bad to yourself in the situation. Like, if you feel like you're ever at that point, please seek help. Like, it's completely understandable when you lose someone who you perceive to be the love of your life. You are in a very dark position in your life. You should be seeking help. You should be seeking therapy. There are different hotlines, there are different organizations. Go do that. Don't sit in your own darkness. Please go seek help. That will always be my message. Please go seek help. At the same time, I don't necessarily think she was in love with her as much as she thinks she was, or she says she does, because at the end of the day, how are you really moving on that fast in the first place? And even if it is like, if you're lonely or you need a rebound, there are plenty of other things you could do, but then seeking it out, other, morbidly obese women in other people's, comment sections or their DMs. Like, no, like, that's not love. That's just you being upset over the fact that your person who engages in your attraction is now gone.
Also, from my understanding, her late fiance passed away due to getting pneumonia.
Okay, this is a pet peeve of mine. Something that I genuinely cannot stand is that a lot of people in the fat acceptance community will try to downplay the importance of being a healthy weight range. They'll go, okay, well, they didn't pass away because they were morbidly obese. They passed away from X. Yes, but those things can attribute to the reasons why you pass away in the first place. You don't have to pass away from that exact reason in order for it to be a contributing factor to you passing away. And I think there was one person, I can't remember what his name is, but he was a guy who passed away from a heart condition, and he was overweight. He was an overweight influencer, and a lot of people were trying to defend the fact that he passed away from a pre-existing health condition. And the condition that he had was exacerbated by the fact that he was overweight. He was going to potentially pass away from this anyway, but it was exacerbated, and he died a lot earlier because his body was not in a healthy weight range, and it put even more struggle on his heart in the first place. Like, have a bit of realization that your being overweight can contribute to being unhealthy, and it might not be the reason you passed away, but it could be a contributing factor of why you passed away. Like, have a bit of foresight. Like, I wish people would be less stupid in that regard. And again, I said this before, you can ignore the consequences of your actions until they hit you one day. Like, there will come a time where those consequences will eventually slap you in the face, and you won't have a choice but to face reality. And then by that time, it is usually too late. So you want to play stupid, you're going to get the consequences of your actions. And to ask people to feel empathetic towards you is, ridiculous, because at that point, why would someone else should care when you are suffering the consequences of your actions? Like, you didn't take your own health seriously, so why should other people? And yes, I am empathetic to people who, can no longer be in that situation anymore, or they lose their lives. I do feel sad for that, and I do, have empathy for that. But at the same time, it's not going to be the same level of empathy for people who passed away who didn't have a choice in their conditions. Like, I'm going to feel much more sorry to someone who was, an average weight, who was looking after themselves, who was taking care of themselves, who passed away from a condition that was pre-existing, than someone who, sits in the house all day and eats copious amounts of food, who is hundreds of pounds overweight, and then passes away because of their pre-existing health condition. I'm not going to be as empathetic because, you did essentially push yourself into that position in the first place. Like, you may not have had you may not have caused the overall condition, but you certainly didn't help it in the first place.
And I'm not going to lie, that kind of makes me nervous because if Amberlynn doesn't get the help that she has always needed, I do fear that something as small, well, not small, but, something like pneumonia could also be the reason for her passing away.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with Alexis here because, like, this is very much going to be the situation with Amber. She may not pass away because, complications of morbid obesity, but it will definitely be a contributing factor. And with Amber, it's like, she's never really going to care at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, she just thinks that she is, almost perfect, or the closest thing to perfection there is ever going to be. She may not agree with that, but that's how her mentality is. And she pretty much acts a very similar way to how my brother acts. He thinks that he's 10 foot tall and bulletproof, and it's like, you can ignore the consequences of your actions until you are slapped with reality. And then you're going to be, kicking and screaming that this situation is not how it was meant to be, or, it's not fair. And at the end of the day, you're going to really have to endure it yourself because most people are going to get tired and just leave you, in your own self pity.
Erica claims Amber made jokes about being the other woman. Did she do the same with you? How did she justify being with a married woman? Yeah, she thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah, I'd never really understood this mentality, and a lot of people, and I understand the mentality, like I understand the mentality of people why people do it, because some people are like, oh, I got their partner to cheat on them, they're married and they hooked up with me. I'm just that irresistible. No, you're not. You're not irresistible. At the end of the day, you're literally just an item of pleasure. Like they don't really care about you that much because at the end of the day, if they're willing to cheat with you, they're willing to cheat on you. You're not the person, you're not the side person, you're one of the side people, or you're the side person for now. Like you are literally just the stand-in that can be traded in at any given time. And the real question is why would you want to be that person? Because at the end of the day, they're still going home to their loved one. They're going home to the bed to be with their wife or their husband. You're at home by yourself alone. Like, congratulations. Do you really want to be someone's like sloppy seconds, I guess? Like, that's, if you want to take pride in that, I guess that's a you type situation. But I mean, I could never be that person personally.
She also, for the longest time, said that Erica was only with her wife for financial reasons and they don't live together, and her wife has another partner that she lives with. And essentially, it's just like an open marriage concept.
Yeah, that situation is kind of hard to tell because Brittany and Erica are lying, and so is Amber. So, like, it's a very much who cares who said what, they said, because at the end of the day, the situation's still the same, even with that potentially added context, and it doesn't really matter because it doesn't change anything. They're all trash still.
And then one day she sent me a picture of a toy on Erica's dresser, and apparently she took a screenshot of it, like while they were on FaceTime, and confronted Erica about it. And Erica, like, I guess lied about it at first, but then she was like, oh, well, of course, like, that's my wife. Like, of course we have. Amber was really upset.
Okay, this part I actually believe is the truth, and the reason why I believe this is the truth is because Erica herself said that her and Brittany came up with a lie, and it was specifically Brittany that came up with the lie to say they were separated in the first place. And she did follow up by saying that Amber found out that the two of them were still together and that they had actually still continued the relationship. They're not separated, but they're still together, type thing. And Amber found out that was actually a lie, and they were still actually together, and they were still in a relationship, and they were still married. So I believe this is actually the truth, because why would Erica bring up that in the first place and lie about it in the first place and then change the subject? And a reason I believe that she was telling the truth the first time around was because Brittany may have found the contradiction in the lie, and when they decided to go to Oh Lordy It's Shorty, they wanted to fix the contradiction because it made them look bad. And that's why I believe it is the truth, because Amber said it was the truth, and then Erica said it was the truth, and then she essentially threw Brittany under the bus and then changed the subject. So that's why I personally believe it is the truth, because when she first actually said that to Apathetics Facts, it's very she added core details to the situation which made it seem like the truth, and then after that she removed that and said it was a lie, and say, oh well, it was a lie, that never really happened. She was very vague about it, which, if you're trying to hide something, that's the vaguity is really the reason, they're really the go-to. So I feel like she was telling the truth because she did add key details, and then she did also add other parts to the situation that wouldn't make sense if they had originally told the truth in the first place. So that lie has to be part of the story, otherwise the story of events doesn't really make any sense.
Also, Erica, I don't really care if you come for me, but you were 100% in love with Amberlynn. I literally saw all of your text messages, everything. Every nude you guys sent back and forth. Quite literally every exchange you have ever had.
I know that I'm choosing to make these videos because I do enjoy the drama, but I swear to God, this is emotionally draining because I have to relate some of these things to my real life situation, and it just makes me to the point where I'm genuinely angry. But let's just get this over and done with because I swear to God, I am going to say some things and I'm going to pretend to have to regret later.
And you cannot tell me or anybody else for 1 second that you did not have genuine feelings for her. Why did Amber reveal Emily so fast? Is she secretly fat phobic and thought Emily was hot and therefore worthy of sharing her with us so soon? No. Tommy is a very insecure person and could not handle when Amberlynn would get other messages or comments that were like flattering.
Who would have thought trash being trash? Honestly, at this point I genuinely don't care anymore. Like, yeah, okay, they're incredibly insecure. They're only insecure because their potential item of pleasure is gonna piss off somewhere else. That's all it comes down to. And I mean, Amber is the exact same way. So as far as I'm concerned, they both deserve each other at this point. Also, you're trash too, Alexis.
And Amber's going to refute this and say this is not true, but it is. So Emily encouraged her to post her. She wanted other people to know that there was someone in Amberlynn's life and she's not available. Also, Emily is not skinny, and in my opinion, she is not attractive.
I understand what you're saying, girl, but calm down. I've seen your photos too. Also, I really shouldn't throw shade because my ass is pretty big too. But that being said, I mean, that's a pretty big stone you're throwing too, so
Is Eric and Ricky actually still hanging out with Amber even after what Amber has put Beck through? Does Beck know? I truthfully have no idea, but I would assume not because Eric messaged me on TikTok literally last night.
I don't care what anyone says, but those two guys are definitely those messy type of gays that are like the stereotype of the token best friend for women. They are, they are. I think almost everyone in Girl World is trash, but they are specifically two special types of pieces of trash, and that's not because. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying in any type of homophobic way. I'm just saying that they are very messy and they are self-serving and very two-faced.
Not asking for personal info on Jade, but was she just as messed up as Amber mentally? She seemed to be more mature, but it's sounding like she was struggling too. All I have to say to that is I think anybody on this planet would struggle if they were Amberlynn's long term live in partner.
I definitely agree with Alexis on this. I think anyone would struggle to be Amber's girlfriend. But that being said, just because you are with Amber does not negate your negative actions too. Uh, Either break up and move on, or stay in the relationship and try to salvage whatever crap relationship you have. On top of that, I don't necessarily agree with jumping on wifey's case because she doesn't really have a social media presence and she can't really speak for herself. Like, if she was to have a social media presence, sort of like Beck or Destiny, I would criticize her a lot more. But I don't think it's sort of right to put her on the same level as those two because they actually have close to what I think it's 80 to 100,000 subscribers or whatever. So definitely agree less with shitting on her.
Has Emily's daughter met Amber yet? No, but they FaceTime.
I would like to hope that child stays away from them, but if she moves in with Amber, obviously the child is going to have to come with. And I fear for that child. I swear to God, especially with narcissistic people, they do not like children, especially even if it comes to their own children. They either see the kid as an extension of themselves or they see that kid as a nuisance and taking away from their partner, which usually is their source of narcissistic um I don't know, emotion or connection or validation, whatever you really want to call it. So that kid is in very much real danger. Not physical danger. I probably don't know if it would be physical danger, but definitely mentally and emotionally a danger, unless, Amber, falls on her. And that kid will not survive that. That was definitely a little mean, but at the same time, I'm still pissed off at the fact that Amber is sending other people's private photos. Like, I am genuinely getting physically angry to the point where I'm shaking.
Does Amber still talk about Destiny or any of her exes, despite claiming she'll never badmouth her exes? Yeah, all of them.
Well, imagine my shock.
Did wifey really ask for no contact? Uh, yeah, she did.
Well, imagine my shock.
And Amberlynn has tried to reach out a couple times since, and she hasn't ever responded, and I'm assuming probably wants nothing to do with her.
At this point, I might as well just put him on payroll because, like, why do people keep asking these pointless and redundant questions? Like, yes, obviously, why would Amber bring up the fact that she's going on no contact? Like, we know for a fact that narcissistic people want to seek approval from other people. So why would she go as far as to say that she's going no contact? Like, that is against everything Amber stands for.
However, Jade, if you are somehow hearing this or watching this video, I just want to say that I really hope that you are doing well and that you have healed from this, even like just a little bit.
I find it kind of funny that you actually wish Jade, healing in the process, because that actually means that you believe that Amber put her through some sort of mental and emotional distress to the point where she actually has some sort of trauma. Which begs the question of, if that's so true, why the hell were you friends with Amber in the first place? Seriously. Now, you were fine with being Amber's friend. You were okay with being Amber's friend. You would still continue to be Amber's friend. You're still going to be there for her once she breaks up. So that means that you care enough to say that you hope that she heals, but you don't care enough to actually not be friends with a toxic person in the first place? Okay, yep, that definitely just shows you the type of person you are. Of course, now that Amber is a bad person, you're spilling the tea after Amber tosses you aside, so, it only really matters when it happens to you, of course. Goddamn trash, honestly.
Has she tried to manipulate you into silence since the live stream? No, she's scared of me because I have too much tea on her, and, her and Emily actually can both, kiss my ass. Was she rejected for weight loss surgery? That whole arc and ending didn't add up. Yes, because she couldn't stop binging.
Well, imagine my shock.
Did Amber give you any support after Girl World attacked you for being her friend? Did she take your calls at 3 a.m. and comfort you, or was it all one-sided? No, she didn't care. About Tommy, what made you think Tommy was fertilizing Amber? I'm assuming the word that you're looking for is fertilizing. And the difference, in my eyes, between a preference and is the intensity at which you experience said preference.
That's very much true. Also, if the preference is a very leave or take type of thing, you don't need it, but for that type of attraction, typically it's something that needs to be put into the relationship. Like, someone could potentially avoid it or go without it, but it's something that will always just build up and cause issues in the relationship later on.
Is ALR the same as she appears online? More or less insufferable, depending on the day. Who has been your least favorite Amberlynn Reid partner? The current one. I mean, Erica was bad, but I don't know. Maybe it's a horse apiece. Or maybe a co-horse?
Oh my God, that was so funny!
Do you know how much she makes a month on YouTube? I have absolutely no idea. And quite frankly, I don't really want to know.
Not unless you're getting a piece of it, of course.
What's the worst thing Al has done to you?
I don't know about the biggest thing, but money apparently seems to be a big one, though.
Well, between the emotional whiplash and the constant gaslighting and the not caring about my wants or my needs or my thoughts or my opinions, I don't know. Do I have to choose?
I started off a little empathetic towards her, but now I'm just starting to get sick of her self-serving attitude. She's getting really egotistical and just flat out annoying.
What did you mean by Tommy was rough with her? Like, just the way that she, like, grabbed on her. Like, when, Emily / Tommy was in Oklahoma, they would FaceTime me, and I don't know, I just didn't like the way that she grabbed on Amber, especially when they were drinking. Like, it just felt very icky to me, and, yeah, I don't know. Like, even Amber looked uncomfortable during some of the interactions between them.
Yeah, I definitely saw that. It was weird as hell. Alright guys, it's going to be the end of the video. I do want to apologize. I did get a little annoyed at the end, primarily because I got sick and tired of just dealing with their trashy attitude, both of them. We're going to get back with some more stuff. Preferably, I'll stick some other stuff in between, so that way I'm not losing my goddamn mind. But thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.